We have another great candidate for you guys, Sara Smith. She's running in Washington's 9th District. Sara, welcome to Rebel Headquarters.
Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
We got a good, strong Rebel in you. It makes sense that you're at HQ here. You are a Rebel indeed. You're a strong progressive, and apparently the Democratic establishment in the state of Washington not happy with that. So I did a story recently about how they were denying you some of the voter rolls, et cetera, but I wanted to hear it from you. So what's going on in your race and what are they denying?
So it's been really, really interesting. In my race, they're denying me access to VAN, which I know you explained is the voter access network. It gives us information on who's a Democrat, who's a likely voter. And they said when we asked them for it, they came back and said, okay, in order to have access to VAN, you need to have the endorsement of 50% plus one of the legislative districts, which if you're challenging a Democratic incumbent, I'm sure you know, is extremely difficult to obtain. And so we said, okay, all right, that's fine. And we took a look a little bit deeper and we realized most of our legislative districts either aren't going to endorse at all, don't endorse until after the primary, or don't endorse until the springtime. So if you're a grassroots campaign and you're trying to build grassroots energy, you need to be out the gate and fighting as soon as possible. And they were hamstringing us by not giving us access to this information using what they were claiming was a bylaw. I'm very factual, I love facts. And I was
Bless your heart.
I know, real facts, not alternative facts.
We could use more of that in Congress, yes.
And I asked for a copy of the bylaw. So I have a lot of background working with legal jargon and things like that. I wanted to see it and I wanted to read it for myself. And that's when they kind of clamped down and they started saying, oh, well, why do you want it? And why do you want access? And they started playing games with us. They stopped responding to our emails, and a bunch of my volunteers, some legislative district chairs, vice chairs, all started calling and saying, where's this bylaw? We all want to see it. And then we have some very progressive counties and legislative districts, and they got involved. And they started saying, where's this bylaw? Where's this bylaw? And the last I heard was on a call we weren't involved in. They never talked to us. They said, because we're endorsed by brand new Congress, now that's why they can't give us VAN access.
Why? What does that have to do with anything?
They said that it's because they also endorse Republicans with brand new Congress, which is interesting to me because we poured through Adam Smith's FEC filings, and he's made donations to Republicans before. So we're really confused as to why an organization like Brand New Congress that endorses both is not okay, but a campaign by an actual sitting congressman, he can have VAN access even though he donates to Republicans, which doesn't strike me as in the Democratic Party's best interest. Maybe I'm wrong, I don't know.
Yeah, so, and Brand New Congress is not endorsing a Republican in this race, right? They actually do that. I know I'm not involved with that group at all, but my understanding is very rarely, and certainly not in this race. In this race, they're endorsing you, a very progressive person. And so, but like, how disingenuous it is over the top, because saying that you can get access to the voter rolls as long as you can get people to agree after the primaries, well, then what?
What's the point of the
election's
right?
already happened. It's like
it's already over.
Yeah, because you're running in the primary against the incumbent who's a Democrat, Adam Smith. So, I mean, saying that, they have to be snickering almost, like it's preposterous. Yes. And so it's, why don't you just declare, I am against progressives, I am for incumbents, and I will protect the establishment. It's as bold and brazen as I have seen in any district in the country.
Yes, and it's a bigger point to raise too, is my incumbent Adam Smith is a really strong fundraiser for the Democratic Party as a whole.
Gee, I wonder why they're doing it, can't quite tell.
There it is, quid pro
quo. So well then people will say, okay, Adam Smith, he's a Democrat from that district, why not just keep him?
Oh, because Adam Smith is a 21-year sitting incumbent that has done pretty much nothing. He's never fought for progressive values. He's been a self-described moderate. He's voted in favor of every bad trade deal except for CAFTA. He's a war hawk. He's very comfortable with the war industry. He takes thousands of their dollars and he talks about, oh, we need to increase troop salaries, but he doesn't talk about cutting the 60% of that military budget that goes towards private contractors, who are conveniently also the companies who donate to his campaign. He votes in favor of increasing the military budget, and then he talks about how he voted against one of the appropriations acts, and he says, oh, where are we gonna get this money? Oh, I can tell you, because you voted in favor of increasing it, it's gonna come from Social Security and education. You just don't wanna say it and you don't wanna own it. And after 21 years, he's suddenly saying he's now a progressive as of his August 4th town hall 2017. After 21 years of self-described moderacy, he's all of a sudden a progressive. And he's all of a sudden in favor of Medicare for all. Where were you in 2003, 4, 5, 6, 7, all the way up until this year? Where were you?
Well, it appears that all of a sudden he read a poll and found out how progressive his district has become, and so yeah, I meant Medicare for all. That, yeah, of course.
Oh, of course.
Have
yes.
I not been saying that all along? No, you haven't actually. Oh, well, yeah, I'm saying it now.
Yeah, but I mean, one of the biggest things too is Adam had a chance to represent his very progressive district. We swung in the caucuses 72% for Bernie Sanders. He had his opportunity and his golden chance to demonstrate, I'm gonna vote with my district, and he's a superdelegate. He could have superdelegated for Bernie Sanders like his district wanted him to, but instead he said, and the TLDR version of it is basically, I don't have to do what the voters say, I'm not bound to that, it's more important that I do what the party wants. And he voted for Hillary Clinton. He showed that he's not actually gonna stand up for progressive values. Of course it's easy for him to say he's progressive now when he's not actually gonna have to hold fast to those values with a Republican-controlled House and Senate and presidency. It's easy to say he's a progressive right now because he doesn't actually have to do the work. But when he did have the chance, he did nothing. In 2008, when he had the chance to be a voice for all progressive values and we had the House, Senate, and presidency, Adam Smith said and did nothing.
So you mentioned defense there, and I think that's really important because over and over in these races, I hear the establishment Democrats saying we have to match the Republicans on the defense issue. But there's no polling on that. Actually, people want us to spend less money on defense and less money on the military-industrial complex. That's what the polling indicates. But they say it like it's a fact. Sarah, I get the haunting feeling that it's not that they are worried about what the polling says about the voters, especially in a district that's 72% voted for Bernie Sanders. It's that they're worried they're gonna lose the donations from those defense contractors.
Oh yes, and that's a lot of money over the course of my incumbent. That's millions of dollars that they're gonna be losing if they go against it. But reducing the defense budget is, very interestingly, it's a really cross-partisan issue. I see Republicans talking about how we need to be responsible with military spending, which is what I've been saying for a long time. They talk about wanting to pay troops more money. Why aren't soldiers getting paid more? Why are people like Dorothy Gasquet was just on? She talked about welding her own armor onto her own truck. Why is she doing that? Why aren't we recruiting welders to come in? Well, we're paying 3 times as much to contractors because we're spread so thin across so many wars. We're paying all that money to contractors. And those contractors donate lots of money to all these different incumbents, including my incumbent, Adam Smith. They donate lots of money to their campaigns. And no one's talking about reducing those kind of expenditures in favor of actually bolstering our troops.
Yeah, wouldn't it be amazing if we had these strong progressive women take over the delegation in Washington? You guys have been on the show the last couple of days, and it would be amazing. It would
I
be
agree,
wonderful.
very biasly.
So running out of time here, last quick question for you. And it's about how you got into this, because you mentioned legal background, you were a paralegal, you got student debts. How'd you wind up running for Congress?
So I actually, a lot of people have talked about their experience. They were all nominated. I was nominated by a couple of people in my community. I think I'm the only Justice Democrat that doesn't know who it was, and I actually don't want to know. I feel like it makes me work harder, so I told them not to tell me. I've come too far now, and if I find out now, I feel like it's just a house of cards. I'll fall down. It's my mom or something. I'm kidding. But
I don't know either.
So I have a background. I actually worked in foreclosure assistance during the middle of the foreclosure crisis and the recession. I worked as a bankruptcy paralegal when we were coming out of the upswing and everyone was filing for bankruptcy. And then I actually did claims negotiation and bodily injury negotiation for an insurance company for a long time. So I had a bit of a legal background. I've always been politically active. I come from a very political family. Got lots of cool stories about my dad. He actually helped pen the legislation that brought single-payer healthcare to Ireland. He's a United States. Yeah, he's an immigrant into the United States from the UK. He's a super cool guy. He's got a crazy cool story, but it kind of runs in my blood. And I've always done voter drives. I helped participate in anti-war activism during high school after the Iraq War started. I've been pretty involved with volunteer work through Planned Parenthood, through the Humane Society. We organized food drives for my old company, and I was on their volunteer board and everything like that. So I've got a lot of volunteer experience and a lot of legal experience and stuff.
All right, well, the Justice Democrat staff done a great job in finding you, and the luck of the Irish, I hope, is on your side. And at least it's easy to remember. It's Adam Smith versus Sara Smith.
No relation. And his wife's name is Sarah, so sorry.
All right, great to have you here. Good luck with the campaign.
Thank you.
All right, guys, that's Rebel Headquarters for today. Oh, don't forget to check out the links for Sara down below if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, and there they are. Volunteering is the most important thing, but if you can't give your time, then at least do a donation to make sure Sara can get voter rolls and can get all those things that she needs.